Got a school like right next door, and then the top floor we got that whole level up there. So that's why I be doing the lecture. And it's free. Like the first hour will be about the Bible Belt, then be like a little intermission, feeding people a little bit. Then I'll be breaking down what critical race theory is. Because a lot of our people don't know what it is.
I'm Dr. Ashley Bachnight-Claybrook.
So we dealing with a doctor, right?
I have to say, I don't know. I would say it has to help, you know?
You got anything to back that up, or you just guessing?
I'm just guessing.
So sis, what is the Bible Belt to you?
The Bible Belt is a series of states that heavily focus on Christianity as a means of political and social foundations for everything they do.
Good, because you should always know where you come from. You should always know history. You should always know what it is and what it ain't, and why people act the way they act now.
The Bible Belt, do you feel that it hurts black people?
Kind of like get rid of the history, get rid of certain things that were done during slavery, or just certain things about our history in schools and stuff like that.
It's cultural, it's environmental, and it's effective.
Okay, you say it's effective.
It can be positive and it can be negative. It just depends on your standpoint.
Preacher man, gotta wait your turn. Gotta get my brothers and sisters. They survive my only concern. This shit has gotta stop. They lock and pop everything they see. Behind the badge of police, they kill us with their knees. Nigga, please.
We look at systemic racism. The differences in the school systems, and looking at gentrification, looking at issues of textbooks, even as simple as textbooks, and how race plays a part in how people are selecting certain parts for different races depending on where they are. You throw in economics with that as well. All that is tied into, if you can show a pattern of.
Well, I'm doing a lecture about the Bible Belt and critical race theory, and it's July the 16th, and it's, you know where I.S.U.P.K is out here? Yeah, it's like we got a school like right next door, and then the top floor, we got that whole level up there. So that's why I be doing the lecture, and it's free. Like the first hour will be about the Bible Belt, then be like a little intermission, feeding people a little bit, then I'll be breaking.
Shalom, this officer say Yahweh of 1,000 of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under the command of Yahanna. We started here back in 1969, teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians that they are the Israelites of the Bible. Right? And today is a Monday night. This is the history class, and the title today is of the Hyksos, the history of the Hyksos. If you go to look up Hyksos, you will see a bunch of debates was going on with the Hyksos, right? You'll see on one side that they, it was already commonly known, or at least thought of, to have been that they came over and took over Egypt, right? That but you gotta look at the source of who said that they came over and conquered Egypt. Right? Who said that they came and tried to take over? Who else? One of them was the so-called oppressor.
Right.
That's who said that this is what happened. And another, there's small records of things such as the Egyptian record of it. But the thing of it is here's the thing you got to realize about the Egyptians. The Egyptians are. What do you think America gets a lot of their wisdom from?
Right.
The Egyptians, right?
Right.
Because if you know anything about our oppressor, right, he don't make anything himself. Everything he does, he gets it from somebody else. He just becomes worse.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, if you know anything about Egypt was extremely political. There's things such as, like we have the race for the, we have the political race, right?
Right.
And you all heard of the political race, correct?
Come.
Anybody know where that comes from?
Salakia. I was thinking Greece being the first democracy.
Before Greece.
It was before Greece.
Before Greece.
I'm gonna assume Egypt.
God, it came from Egypt. Anybody know any more historical significance with it? Okay. The presidential race, here's what it was. It was when the pharaoh, it would change over time. Sometimes it was once a year, and I believe it was like once every 4 to 6 years. Then what they would do is they would have to run a certain amount of distance, right? Run somewhere, and then that was like the pharaoh or the race, because they had to do that to show that they were still in good shape enough to run the country. See, they don't get nothing new from anywhere. That's why. What is America called in the Book of Revelation?
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
Mystery Babylon and Egypt.
There you go. Sodom in Egypt, right?
Sodom
in Egypt.
Salaki,
Sodom.
sir.
You could use Sodom and Babylon, like they kind of correlate.
Right.
But they use it. AC called it Babylon. They called it Sodom. Why do they call it that? They call it these things because of the homosexuality. Because we all know the Greeks was homosexuals. That's what all that fraternities was for, them sororities. That's all they did there. Now this is not to be confused with the native Greeks. There's a difference between the native Greeks or the ancient Greeks and the people that became Greek. There's a difference. Just because what will happen is, what you'll see is the ancient Greeks were Japhites. You understand what I'm saying? And then I broke it down before, but I just like to clarify because there's a lot of misconceptions. But the ancient Greeks, the first Greeks, actually were Japhites, right? Japhetic people, right? So what ended up happening was they came over, the oppressor came over, took over that land, and became them.
Right.
Just like they did with everybody else, they became us. Hell, they became the Egyptians.
Right.
You see the gods of Egypt, right? Who is the gods of Egypt now? Zeus.
Right.
You understand? Go ahead.
So like you said, what you're saying is so heavy because they did that in South Africa. Now they're South Africans. They did it in America, and now they're Americans. You know, and we have different names for the people that were here first. You call them Native Americans, but the white man here today is what you would look at and call American.
Yep.
You know, they go and they're like the original culture vultures. You know, they steal, they rob, they kill, they pillage, and then they usurp your own name.
And take it and make
take
it
your concert.
They take it because they can't. There can't be a great nation that is not them.
Right.
They became David.
Right.
They became Christ.
Right.
Became all. You can't have a great nation. I think they even did the one with the over there with the samurai. The last samurai is a Caucasian. God, it's night. Everybody got to be a damn Edomite, don't they?
Right.
I mean, dang. And if you even know anything about back then, like back in the samurai times, the actual Asian people over there, the Japanese and the Chinese, so you know, or the Ammon and Moab, they were darker skinned at this time. Right. They breeded out the darker skin over time. If anybody didn't know that, they bred it out back in the 1800s and before. They were all dark skinned, but they bred it out because it became more notable or higher nobility to be lighter skinned. They would put powder on their faces and all of this, man.
So, like you said, is that the same thing they did to Ishmael?
What you mean?
Looking at like ancient pictures of Muslims and Moors, they were all darker skinned people, and now these same Muslims are damn near white people in terms of their color.
No, I don't think it was a cultural thing. What happened a lot was the how do I put it? like there was a it was during the what do you call it? I forget.
Crusades?
No, it was called. It was during the Silk Road. Silk Road trade routes, where that's where the Muslims in Islam. Well, I'm trying to see where they all was it technically Muslim then, because Islam came in the 600s.
Right.
It might have been a little bit before it and a little time during. But I'm just saying, just for the sake of Arabs.
Right.
And for instance, of course, everybody was darker skinned at one point.
Right.
Then, of course, what happened is they started mingling in and started taking in, other people because Islam, especially, that's just another version of Christianity.
Right.
Islam is just a little bit stricter version. It's the same thing. Anybody can be a Muslim. So, but they started taking over, and a lot of them Caucasians was in the mountains over there. And most of them that you know of that were in those mountains, a lot of them, the one in particular was the Khazars. They became the fake Jews in that area.
Right.
Right. There were some that wasn't part of Khazaria that converted over, that were Caucasians.
Right.
And then that's the mixture of that made them lighter skin. If you get what I'm saying.
Kind of concept.
The mixture of that made them lighter skin, because if you go to like some of them Kazakhstan and them stans over there, Turkmenistan and all of that over there, like a little south of Russia, kind of like southwest of Russia, which is down by by Constantinople, between in that area. A lot of those places there, they had like Turkey, for instance.
Right.
That was like a meeting ground for Muslims, Christians, and real Jews and fake Jews. It was like a mixture of all of that there. So Constantinople, that's why that was like, that was where Constantine made his place at. That was like the breeding ground for like everything, and they just took everything and mixed it all together, and then that's where they made Christianity that you have today. If you get what I'm saying.
Right.
That's kind of how that happened. So, but just get back to the topic. The Hyksos, man, they were a sheep herder people, because why about the sheep herders, why that was known, they were sheep herders?
Lie, sir.
I know why. You know why it was said they were sheep herders?
Sheep herders.
Mm-hmm.
That was like something to do with cattle related, something like that?
No, it's Shalom Lord Christ.
Shalom Lord Christ. Shalom Lord Christ. I want to Mama, so I'll check it in.
What's going on now?
Everything's wild, sir.
Okay. That's okay. But basically, the reason why they said that, because when Joseph was there, he's told them that he said, because he knew, because Joseph he was pretty wise, right?
Right.
Joseph said, the Egyptians, they'll leave you alone if you say you're a sheep herder. Right? He told him, he said, we're gonna take this land over here of Goshen or whatever, and then it's the same land. I gotta get the name of it off of here. I'll get it in my notes in a minute. But that's the same land.
Right.
So he said, we're gonna take that land, because that land over there it's like perfect for what we do, which is agriculture. Which, if you know anything, we the ones that brought agriculture to the Egyptians. They try to say about the Nile Valley and all of this. We were the ones that made all of these things work. That's what they leave out. Because just like America, who makes America work? It ain't Donald Trump.
Right.
Donald Trump don't do a damn thing. The people that he tried to build a wall against was trying to build a wall was the people that built his buildings, his towers.
Right.
Right? So they don't do anything. They don't keep America running. Who keep America running is the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. That's what keep America running. We the oil that goes into America, the machine. We keep everything. We the oil and the damn machine, for real.
Right.
We everything. They just the car.
They just the driver.
They the frame.
Right.
And that's it. Or maybe the driver. They what you see on the outside.
Right.
But we the transmission. We the wheels. We all of the parts. They just they the paint job. Mm-hmm. What you see that looks shiny. That's what they are. Just to put it to an analogy. Right. So we the ones that keep everything running inside of America. But who gets all of the credit for America being great?
They do. Sir.
Exactly. They get it because they are the slave masters. You can't let your slaves get more credit than the slave master. Right. So why is Egypt so great now? Because we built it. All right. We built the brick. They built their pyramids. We and all that. We did a lot of things. We taught them advanced weaponry. They didn't even know that. Then we get some of all of that. All right. See what time it is? 8:08. Okay. So let's see here. Oh, here we go right here. Can y'all can you give me Genesis 47?
Salaki, sir.
Good.
47 and what verse?
Let's see exactly. Okay. Go to, you can read the first part, the first verse.
Come on, sir. This is Genesis chapter 47, verse 1. Then Joseph came and told Pharaoh and said, my father and my brethren, and their flocks and their herds and all that they have are come out of the land of Canaan, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen.
Yeah, they're in the land of Goshen. If you look up the land, it's the exact same land, Goshen, that the Hyksos lived in. Right? And they set up different cities all over in Goshen. They set up different cities.
Right.
Keep going.
And he took, Salakia, verse 2. And he took some of his brethren, even 5 men, and presented them unto Pharaoh.
So he took 5 of his brothers and he presented them. Whenever it says even, that means that's what it is.
Right. Right.
All right. He presented to Pharaoh. Keep going.
Verse 3. And Pharaoh said unto his brethren, what is your occupation? And they said unto Pharaoh, thy servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers.
He told them this because they knew the Egyptians, they hated that. They hated shepherds. They didn't like agriculture and doing all these different things, man. They didn't like this. The Egyptians thought themselves as being higher up. But we are a nation of farmers.
Right.
All right, keep going.
Salakia, verse 4. They said moreover unto Pharaoh, for to sojourn in the land are we come, for thy servants have no pasture for their flocks, for the famine is sore in the land of Canaan. Now therefore, we pray thee, let thy servants dwell in the land of Goshen.
Yep, so they went to Pharaoh and said, we want to dwell in SHALAM. What's going on? So basically, we want to go to the land of Goshen because, we needed a pasture land, and that's what Goshen provided.
Right.
Because in Egypt it's all desert there. Of course, they want to stay in the desert, right? They want to be, heathens like to go to places that's barren. or do, you know, stuff like that. We want to be, okay, we want to go in the pastures. And that's where we at, in the pastures, you know, where we can feed our flocks and grow, you know, vegetables. Because you got to think too, when Joseph was in Egypt, right? He told them about a famine coming, right?
Right.
And then they asked him, how do we prepare for the famine?
Right.
Who told him?
Right.
That's technology right there.
Right.
Joseph told them how to prepare for the famine. You get what I'm saying? They didn't even know how to prepare for, you know, hell, basically. But you know, we being blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans, we always been through hell. We know how to prepare for anything, right?
Right.
We taught them how to store their food.
Right.
So they didn't even know how to do that. So we didn't want to go into Egypt, like in Egypt like that. We wanted to go to where we can grow stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They in the land of thieves. If you go there, it's sand. Go ahead.
That's what I'm at, you know what I'm saying? We taught me how to bathe too, man. But all these other nations are dirty in their business, man. We the only ones that keep ourselves clean, keep ourselves up, and smell good, man. That's why our women love us, man, because we feel so good.
You know how to bathe. I mean, well, you know, they women like, you know, like them too, because they funky the same way, so they like them as well. So we went over there. I'm trying to see exactly where. I'm trying to see if I can get some maps. Anybody see if they can pull up a map of where Goshen is?
Con, sir. I have it here, sir.
Let me see. Where was Goshen at?
Top of the Nile River is in the greenest spot of that entire area.
And you see this right here, right? You see this map. I'll see if we can put it up here. Let me put it on.
I think I Googled land of Goshen. And then hit images.
That's the land of Goshen. We was at the top. Right there, right? The land of Goshen. Egypt is on the land of sand.
Right.
So we wanted to be there, so the whole thing of them being, the whole thing of them being in even the Nile Valley, all of this stuff of being in the Nile River, they didn't even care about the damn Nile River until we did.
Right.
They didn't care about it. We the ones that made it grow. We the ones that did all of that, and they seen what we did, and then now they wanted to take over, and now they take credit for it. So let me see. Go to. So we, like I said, we made all of that. We made all of that grow, all of that take over. They didn't care about all of the agriculture. We see in agriculture, we needed that for our sheep.
Right.
You know, all our flocks that we had. All right. Was this something that hits so close? I don't know, it won't let me zoom in. You kind of see how they dressed a little bit. Go ahead.
Before Noah, we were just Adamites, right?
Before Noah, yeah, kind of, we were, yeah, Adamites,
So,
you know.
When did we turn to Israelites? Because, you know, you can say, like I hear a lot of people say, Hebrew Israelites, but shit, Salaki saying that, but Jacob and Esau came out the same womb, right?
Correct.
So Esau would be a Hebrew.
He is.
Right.
Jacob would be a Hebrew.
Right.
You said who?
He,
Yeah, you said who would be a Hebrew? I didn't hear that last one.
I said Esau was a Hebrew. We all
God.
talking about the same one. So Esau
Yeah,
Esau
God.
would be a Hebrew. So at what point did we turn into? How do we separate ourselves from Hebrew? Because I look at Hebrew as a language. So when are we separate and turn to Israel? About like.
Okay. Well, we separated when we went into when Jacob was born. That's when we separated, became Israelites. Now, the Hebrew part kind of stayed with us a little bit. You get what I'm saying? Because of how do you put it? Because there were other Hebrew sects, right?
Right.
Because you had Lot,
Right.
course, right? He had children.
Ammon and Moab.
Yeah, Ammon and Moab. That's a whole Israelite. Not Israelite, but that's Hebrew. Ammon and Moab is Hebrews as well.
Right.
But they went off. You know what I'm saying? They went off because the covenant wasn't with them. So it's like, how do you put it? It's like how we got separated. He just said, remember, because when Abraham, because you remember his first child was Ishmael. Yeah. So, but God said that's not your son though.
Right.
He said Isaac is your son. So it's the same way with that. So even though there were other Hebrews, the real Hebrew was the line that Abraham came from. Those the ones that kept the customs more near and dear. They kept it more pure than the rest of them, and that was the chosen line. Because you gotta think about everything. Jacob had a daughter too, Dinah. Where did she go? You know what I'm saying? There's no record of it, of course. But I'm just saying, it was other people. Jacob had, not Jacob, but Abraham. He had about 5 sons, I believe, or 8.
So he said, I think it was 8.
He had 8 sons altogether. Right? Those are Hebrews as well.
Right.
But the chosen lineage went to Isaac, not the rest of his sons. Did they probably follow Abraham to some point? God, I'm sure that they followed. Just like I'm sure Ham and Japheth, they was into the they followed the law. Hell, they was on the boat with Noah. They followed the Most High with that, right? They was with the Most High. But then over time, their people, because they weren't the chosen seed, they started going off into other stuff. They still knew about it, because you remember when Abraham went over, he went to an African nation somewhere, and they said to him that he had a dream or something, and because he said that Sarah was his sister, and he was trying to take her to wife, and the Most High came to him in a dream and said, La. And so he said, how you gonna have God come up against me? They know who God is. They know all of that. That's why, if you notice, all of them, what they do is, all of their religions typically have one Most High God. And that's, in their mind, of course, and I'm not saying this is the technical, but in their mind, that's the Most High. And all the rest of them are other, priests that became gods as well. Like, Zeus was not a god like that. He was he was a god, but he got raised up to these different statuses. They were people that got raised up to being gods. The real god, I believe, was Kronos, or I can't remember exactly, but that's the real pure God, and that's like the Most High to them. And then the rest of them got raised up to being gods.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But they all had one Most High God. I think even with Egyptian, who's their Most High God?
Ra, I believe.
That's their Most High God. That's the sun. The rest of them rose up to being that. Like who they call the person the earth. He put his own seed in his mouth. He's a rose up to be in the power.
Right.
See what I'm saying? That's like a brief thing of it. That's why they do those things. That's why they you can all you can bring it all back to them knowing at some point who the Most High was, but then them changing it and then bastardizing it to make it something else. Because having the Most High God, I guess, just it ain't interesting enough, I guess, right?
Right.
That's not interesting to them. They want to have guys that can, what was that? They had the movie Zeus. They in there fighting like hell.
Right.
They want their guys to be like Dragon Ball Z characters.
Right.
Just beating the hell out of each other. They want to see that, and that's a more telling story. Which these stories really are bedtime stories that you tell kids. They're Superman, and to make your kids be inspired that they made into gods.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it really is. Even Santa Claus was just a bedtime. Somebody came up with a little story, and then all of a sudden you got all of this. You read Santa Claus and the reindeer, and none of this wasn't in no history before the 1800s.
Right.
You couldn't find no reindeers and all of that. They just added all of these different things because it was a story to tell. And now it's almost like you don't think of Christmas without Santa Claus and the reindeer and the North Pole. You don't think about nothing else. The story's been retold so much. You get what I'm saying? Hopefully that answers your question. Mashallah?
Come on, sir. Yeah, come on, sir. Yeah, nah, that was wild. Yeah, I'm good. So what?
No sweat. So, but that's when we got the separation from everywhere. We had a separation because God separated us. That's why we kept the commandments. Like, of course, there wasn't a Mosaic law, but we kept it through our generations. You know what I'm saying? We kept it stronger. Even now, we keep it stronger than all of the other nations, just naturally, right? We naturally don't really. We was forced to eat pork, and we were culturally made to eat shrimp and crab, but we don't eat all the stuff them Chinese people, boy, I tell you, they eat anything that move. It probably ain't even gotta move, they'll eat it. I'm trying to tell you, they'll eat your headband if you let them, and add extra sweat. That's seasoning for them. They'll eat whatever, right?
God, sir.
So they don't care what it is, they'll eat it. So that's how a lot of them are. But we never were like that because that's not our culture. Go ahead.
Precept on that, sir. If I may, 2nd Esdras, chapter 3 and verse 36.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt find that Israel by name has kept thy precepts, but not the heathens.
Exactly. We always kept it.
Right.
Generation. We've kept more of the precepts. We just we had our moments we got off, of course.
Right.
But we naturally, without even thinking about it, even though being a homosexual is being more accepted, it's still not accepted.
Right.
Like other cultures here. It's still not really. Even though they say it's hell, a damn lesbian will call you a FAG. And derogatory wise.
Right.
They know inherently it's wrong. Right? She will call you that. So we know we ain't supposed to be homosexuals. She will call you that. I done seen it.
Right.
Go ahead.
I don't know the topic class right now because I just chimed in, but I just want to know when we dealing with other nations, as far as the school and how we do, how do we handle that? You know what I'm saying? Because we know that everybody's oppressing us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do we still how do we deal with them? What do we you know what I'm saying? I know we probably can do something with them, but how do we really? What's the spirit behind it? You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. I'll probably have to really tap in. I'll get into the topic in about another 15 minutes, real tough, But then I'll probably have to make a part 2 for next week about Hyksos. All right. Kind of gonna be around the time soon. But at any rate, basically, let me get it for you.
So I think I mentioned.
Go ahead.
I mean, you know, where are we dealing with a lot of oppressors? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like how to function, how to move. You know what I'm saying? And I know, you know me. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way I can get the best. That's the only way I can get the best teaching or counseling or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of people.
What do you mean the best teaching and counselor? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if I'm going to get an understanding, I got to get it from the brothers in school. So
Okay.
that's what I say that.
Okay. All right. Somebody go to Matthew chapter 10. And go to chapter 10 and verse 16. Read that for me, got it.
Come, sir. This is Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves.
Break that down for me, mashallah. Break that down for me. As best you can.
So I will break that down. So I can.
I said as best you can.
Oh, best I can. Alright. So I would say that, you know, us being in the world, you know what I'm saying? He said, behold, I send forth as sheep. You know what I'm saying? So we sheep in the midst of wolves. So in the midst of wolves, we know that America is taking advantage of us. The wolf is America. The wolf is other nations. You know what I'm saying? If I may. You know what I'm saying? It said, be ye there wise as a serpent. So we know a serpent is you can say a snake. That's a serpent. But you gotta be wise. Like you just gotta be wise to know what you're doing. And being harmless as a dove is like, you're not trying to, this is not our fault. You get what I'm saying? We're supposed to be fishermen. We're supposed to be fishermen right now. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be wise and know what we're doing as doves. And the Lord tell us what we need to do. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or Shalom, like Commander Yahanna or whoever. You know what I'm saying? But we got to be wise at all times and then be harmless as a dove. Like, we're not out here trying to hurt nobody. We just trying to wake up our people. So I probably rambled on a little bit, but that's how I would break that down. So like,
okay. I'll get you a little bit deeper for you. All right. How is a serpent wise? Right? How is a serpent wise? A serpent is wise because, like, how should I say I was broken down? Like, to me, a serpent is wise because they know what fights to pick.
Exactly. Con, sir.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And what does a serpent do? They don't come after the whole animal, the big animal. They just simply give it a bite. And then over time it weakens it. And then you're able to take over the whole place. But then it says you got to be harmless as doves because here's the thing. You see what happened to the INFAC, not effing around coalition, right?
Right.
Where they at? Nowhere.
No idea.
They try to walk around with guns, trying to show force, end up getting forced out.
Right.
Where they end up in prison, right? What happened to all the Black Panthers?
Come on, sir.
Yeah.
But so I think about me.
Go ahead.
You can say be wise as a serpent, but didn't the serpent tempt Eve in the garden per se? Like,
but how did he do it?
being wise?
Yes.
Trickery. So
It was trickery, but it was wise because he knows. Like I said, it's not in our nature. Is it not our nature to be a serpent, like in a way of being trickery? But the serpent was wise because what did he do? He used the woman's weakness against her. What's a woman's weakness?
What is a woman's weakness?
Yes, what's her weakness?
I don't know.
You're a night, man. You don't know that? You gotta know this one.
I mean, look, I'm every woman's weakness.
There you go, man. See, when you're light skinned, people say all that. Go ahead.
So like you said,
that's a light skinned brother. Come back.
So like you said, is it appearance? Like she's weak to things that look pleasing to the eye. So like
that is one, but that's not her overall. That's not her biggest one.
So like I don't want. I mean, I'm gonna be serious on the foot. I think a woman's weakness is power. Like,
Power. That's exactly what it is. She wants power.
kind of concept.
And what's man's number one weakness?
Giving away that power.
The truth in a woman. The truth of woman of money.
No, weakness. The truth ain't a weakness. Women is the men's weakness. Look what happened to Solomon. Look what happened to David. Happened to all these men. David had a heart like the Most High. What is the only time he sinned?
Bathsheba.
Exactly.
Salakia, sir.
It's Bathsheba.
Salakia, sir. If I may, Samson.
Yep, Samson Delilah.
Right. Strong as Israelite.
That's what I'm saying. Right. All of them because of a woman. So that's why he was wise in that matter. Not, yes, did he use trickery because he is the devil? Of course. But what I'm saying, that's what makes our oppressor, the reason why he's able to take us over, that's wisdom. I mean, granted, it's evil, but it's wisdom. What did he do? He changed the images of our God. So now every time you see him, you think of him as your God, subconsciously. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why when we go out and we speak, we taking down slowly but surely their power. We use wisdom for it. Like I heard one time, Captain Ariya, he had somebody was I can't remember the whole story because I heard it third hand, but basically he used the part he said about they were trying to stop us from doing whatever we were doing, but he came and said that, so you're against the Jews, because he know that's something that you don't want to be labeled as anti-Semitic.
Right.
So he used, "Are you against the Jews?" to him, and no, we're not against no Jews. So he got them to back up off or whatever they were trying to do. I think it was police officer, if I'm not mistaken. So he was wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove, because he didn't come up with a weaponry. We got ARs, we got AKs all over here.
Right.
But he didn't come over here trying to have that. He's harmless as a dove. We come with no weapons.
Right.
We come in, we use our minds to take over, our camp spot, we use our minds to take that spot over. We don't use weaponry. Now, we got hands, we can use those. But we don't use weaponry to do. That's why we harmless as a dove.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Does that answer your question? You get that? A little bit?
Yeah, damn right. I don't know you got down on that.
No, it's a spirit behind it. Now, everything, when it comes to that, how to be wise and what's the wisdom behind, that's going to be something in counsel, of course. You're going to have to get counsel on every particular situation. But part of wisdom is seeking counsel. So you want to seek counsel, Man, talk to get some of these generals. They'll tell you how to handle everything. I'm trying to tell you. They will get you out of. I've seen brothers getting ready to go to jail for some time before they came into the truth. It was a brother. It was a brother on the West Coast. He was ready to go to prison and all of that. I think he might have had to do 6 months, and he was out. Now he a priest in the I.S.U.P.K. Like he was gonna do some time,
right?
Some real time. But through our wisdom, we got all that. It was another brother. There was another brother in the school. Some homosexual. He married a sister that has a child to some other. I think a Kemet cat. And he was like, he went and kidnapped their son, and he doing all kind of little weird semi-homosexual stuff or whatever. He into that. He did that, but he got the I.S.U.P.K. and we was able to get his son back.
Wow.
So we got the child back over here. And now now don't get me wrong, we always are for fathers being in children's lives, but you gotta be fit. You can't be, he was doing homosexual mess with his son, and he felt like that was okay. So we ended up getting the child back. So there's wisdom in I.S.U.P.K. You just gotta you just gotta get it.
Well, I got one.
Go ahead.
Like, if I may, man, and it's heavy, like what you're saying, because like people don't really understand how the I.S.U.P.K. saves people, man. I just want to give Commander Jenny Yahanna hand for knowing the truth that you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are destroyed, man. I see it all the time, all day long. You know what I'm saying? I see it all day long, man, and it's like, man, how did the white look? The white guy, the white man is the devil, man.
He is the devil,
right?
So that's why we had these classes, because this truth has to get out, has to be known. That's why we're saying about, because the one thing even with Kemet, I was watching when I was getting ready for the class. There's brothers going around trying to say that because they didn't bought into the belief that that the Israelites are Caucasian people. They bought into that, and they think that they are the Egyptians. Like they think they're the Egyptians, so they're saying that they're getting a story that they're really getting from a man named Manetho. They're getting it from him, which he's an unverified scholar. So that's why even him and Josephus, you got to be very careful on what you take from them, because they're unverified scholars. A lot of their writings are only in their books and not verified by other sources. And Manetho, Josephus has more other places. Manetho really doesn't have any. Okay, but Manetho, he was going around saying that these people, they were coming in and trying to take over and do all this, but this was a devil. He's trying to say this because you got to think there's politicalness in everything that they're doing. So he's trying to make because they were tired, they knew that the Hyksos were us. So they're trying to go around and make them seem like they went over to take over Egypt, because of course the oppressor loves Egypt.
Right.
So they seen us over here as, blacks over here, because we were in Rome too. So they seen us over. They try to make us look bad by saying this is what happens. And then the only thing that you got to really do is, because they know, here's the thing, they know that, how do you put it? They know that when you write, you can change history by what you write.
Right.
You know that? They can change history. So even some part of the Egyptians changed history and said that we were hurting them. So that's why they had to, kill our sons and kick us out.
Right.
They're going to try to say that. We said, well, we were hurting us. But when you see the whole picture of it, we didn't have enough manpower to take over Egypt at that point. That's why it was said that they were going to come to with other nations and come take them over. We didn't have the manpower. What we had was the resources. We had the agriculture, we could feed the army. We had the technology, which I'll probably get into before we close out the class. But I'll probably have to do a part 2 next week, so stay tuned for that. Let me see if I can find out some, just the technology.
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
If I may, this source also says that the Hyksos provided such technological innovations to the Egyptians, such as horse and chariot, as well as the sickle sword and the composite bow.
There you go.
So
I got that here too. I just couldn't find it.
Kamikaze.
I saw a little part of that, but yeah, the bow. That's come from the Gadite brothers.
Right.
They're the man with the bow and arrow, right? You had the sword. Judites probably had the sword,
right?
Because you like to fight hand and fist to fist. So we had all these, and then we had we would ride on the chariots on the back. So they took our military and our innovations that we had, and then ended up killing us with it. The same way anybody else has done. So we make all of their technical advances better. Like even to get into space and all of that. They used us to get into space. The first computer was a black woman.
Right.
So we did a lot of these different things. A lot of times they don't tell you, but a lot of times when they do a lot of strategic planning and doing nuclear science, I have to pull up some more sources, but a lot of those people were black people.
Right.
They did the math for all of these different things. They came from black people. They didn't come from Caucasians.
Right.
But then, of course, what do Caucasians do? They're like, oh man, he made the atomic bomb. Oh, we made this bomb. Okay, he can blow up. Okay, this right here can blow up a house. I wonder if I can blow up a whole country. And they make it so they can kill everybody. That's the difference. But a lot of these different weaponries we actually invented. They just made it more deadly. That's basically how the whole story goes. All right. So, like you said, we made the compact bow, all of these different inventions, and that's why Egypt was such a strong. They were able to take over other lands.
Right.
But then they failed because the Most High said that they were going to fail. They were going to fall. All right. Because even a lot of times during even the Bible, when we got out of Egypt, Egypt hadn't fallen that bad yet. It took, over time, they just completely failed. And now they pissing on the side of the pyramids over there. Now, they don't care, the only people care about the pyramids is black people. They don't care about the pyramids over there.
Right.
The pyramids over there is like the projects. They don't care about it. It's just whatever. Like your city hall. You don't care about your city hall.
Right.
In your city, you don't care about that mess. No, everybody else care about it because it's a tourist attraction. Go ahead.
Salakia, sir. It's them Hotep, Kemet, Egyptologists, all of our people who converted to their stuff, glorify their stuff.
Yep.
And you see that even with the Greeks, Salakia, the fraternities and things. We convert to their way and then glorify their way.
Well,
if you look at fraternities and stuff, don't nobody do it like black people.
No, we gotta do the dancing.
I mean,
they stump in the yard.
Sir.
All of that. Nobody even think about the Greek fraternities until black people.
Concert.
The sororities, the AKAs. Nobody. We the real fraternities. They just, I don't know what they is. But go ahead.
Now, that's what you're saying, because, like you said, don't nobody care about the pyramids and all that. Like, Georgia got a dome. The Capitol building in Georgia is, what is it, it's partially gold. They got a gold dome.
Right? I think that's the Islam place, ain't it?
State capital.
The state capital.
Oh, the state capital.
Kind of concept.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they got to do all don't nobody care about that. That don't do, like you say, it don't do nothing with black and trans and niggas getting in people. It's just a showcase for black kids.
Mm-hmm. They don't care about all of that. Like, we the only ones that care about it. We look at those pyramids because the people that the real reason why we care about them because we still slaves. And Massa cares about the pyramids, and they care about the Egyptians and all of that. You know, I don't even know that. You know, the Egyptian music. I don't even know that's even their damn music. That's just what people are talking about.
Right.
Just think about it. The whole thing, you don't even know if that's really them. You know what I'm saying? It's just what's been romanticized to you.
Right.
Through stories and movies and books. It doesn't even mean that that's the actual people. And that's how they behave. You know what I mean? You start looking at it, they was putting semen in lettuce because they felt as though it would give seasoning to it. Yeah, look that part up.
No,
I mean, you ain't got to see it. But what I'm saying, look, there's a lot of things they did that was weird. They were some of the first drug users. They smoked weed, cocaine. They did all of these different things. This was a high nation, and who got the high nation from them? The oppressors. They do everything that Egypt did. They love Egypt. They made everything just like Egypt. So that's what they did. They were some of the first, like, I'm not saying they were the first drug users, but it was probably like the first big kingdom that used drugs like that. All right?
Right.
Okay. Probably have to, well, anybody got any questions at all? Anything you want to bring out? I'm going to have to do a part 2 to this for next week. All right, make sure y'all tune in. We're going to get into it deep. All right?
Right.
Anybody got any questions at all? Anything you might want to bring out? With that, pass the class over to Prison Officer the Prosecutor.
This I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We're the I.S.U.P.K starting on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Room for a new brother and sister. We're a new brother and sister come to the school. They're living for 6 months. They're here to be saluted only. They're here to set themselves on the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. My Ishro, that means 10 in Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury partner or teacher. Priest fund, free will offer for a priest not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you like to give. Next holy convocation will be the memorial of the blowing of trumpets. That's the first day of the 7th month. Be September 25th, Sunday, sundown. You also can find in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23 through 24 to 25. While I'll walk in to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If any brother wants to be a trooper to school, if any brother wants to be a trooper to school, start with our black boot shirt, pad, headband, or scarf. And make sure you Google this address every time you head to the school to help build the algorithms. With that, Men Israel, Almighty. You're one person to teach Men Israel, Almighty Sabbat, Almighty, Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahweh
Yahweh Shem Yahweh.
While we said to Lashwan Kadash, may the Most High, in the name of Christ, bless you. Yah, from the top, and your hands down, classmates.